It's the holidays once again. It's the December holidays once again. Let's not fool ourselves into thinking that the holidays only come one time a year. However, we do use the term holiday as a generalization for all 3 holidays in December to avoid possibly offending someone. Well, that's how it is in the United States anyway. Of course, individual preference tends to lead towards greeting someone with the holiday of their choice, either out of habit, pride, or they are just comfortable doing it that way. For business, it's more of a double-edged sword. If they use Christmas, Kwanzaa, or Hanukkah, they run the risk of offending people who either celebrate the other holiday or who don't celebrate any of those holidays at all. But if they use Happy Holidays, they run the risk of offending people who celebrate Christmas, who is still a large part of the population. Either way, someone is going to be offended. It's a way of life and you can't really prevent it. I've noticed something new as of late when it comes to cartoon series and specials, when it comes to the holidays. Normally, a lot of times, when a TV series or cartoon say they are a holiday special, more times than not, when they put holiday in the title, what they really mean is Christmas. I mean, you can't hide that. However, there have been a few series and specials that avoid using any of the holidays in December and make up their own holiday with their own traditions and history. Most of the time, it is understandable because these holidays are set in worlds that are different and wouldn't celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa. They would celebrate their own thing. I mean, it is kind of weird that He-Man and the Flintstones would celebrate Christmas, even though the Flintstones are set in early times before Christ, and He-Man's on a completely different world. So in the spirit of me already being tired of Christmas, we are going to look at these made-up holidays for these episodes and specials. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Hello, friends. I'm Toonamp, and this is the top 10 non-Christmas Christmas holidays. For this list, we are going to take a look at the historical backgrounds of these holidays, the traditions, the lore, how close the holiday looks to an existing holiday, mostly Christmas, and how good the episode or special is. It also must be an animated series, movie, or special, so that means no Festivus for the rest of us.
Squadron 10, your mine car is clear for takeoff on track 7. It's a low clearance tunnel, so watch your... heads.
Number 10. Snowflake Day from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Now I have to tackle Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood differently than how I would tackle a normal cartoon that I review because it's not a normal cartoon that I usually review. However, the rules still apply to Snowflake Day like they do for the rest of the holidays that I'm looking at for this list. Snowflake Day is so low on this list because the holiday itself is very vague. We have no history of the holiday, we don't know the reason why it is outside of it's a celebration of snowflakes. We don't get any lore, so we don't get any mythical creatures like Frosty the Snowman or Santa Claus. But we do get some traditions. We have a play to entertain guests celebrating Snowflake Day that took up most of the episode. There is the celebration of snowflakes, but the most interesting thing that they did during Snowflake Day is releasing lanterns into the sky. I think that's kind of unique in a way. Not unusual, especially after Tangled came out, but still kind of unique for a Christmas type episode. The episode itself is fun, although not in a demographic that I'm used to, but I still enjoyed myself. Again, it's so low because there is no lore or history, and honestly, it feels more like a celebration of winter than it does really a Christmas type holiday.
I'm a present too! Boopsie boopsie boo!
Prince Wednesday, you are not supposed to say boopsie boopsie boo.
Sorry.
Number 9. Whatever the hell holiday they made up. Trolls Holiday. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not like this holiday special. For a special that's supposed to be released at Christmas time, or Hanukkah time, or Kwanzaa time, it amazes me how this special has nothing to do with any of them. In fact, it could be played almost any time of the year. But unfortunately, when you see the word holiday, most people recognize it as December. So that's when this special is played. I guess it does help that the special looks somewhat Christmassy at the end. You know, with bubbles that look like snow, and trees shaped to look like troll hair, and caroling. So it has that going for it. And it also has history going for it as well. This holiday, even though it's not really clear what the holiday is called, is a celebration when trolls and Bergens got together to form a bond of friendship. Because friendship is magic! It's a really good reason to celebrate the holiday. Two nations coming together. Unfortunately, since it is a new holiday and there is no lore, no traditions, and along with me not caring for the special and it being halfway like Christmas, this is all the reason why it's so low on the list. The special does highlight an interesting problem though. The trolls like to celebrate anything and everything, so they have a holiday almost every day. Random things like glitter and spiders, just stuff that they like. It's something that we ourselves tend to do nowadays. These random holidays that don't really have a history and it's just celebrating stuff that we like Talk Like a Pirate Day and Velcro Shoes Day. Don't worry, that's not a holiday yet, but give it time. They're harmless, but if you look for an excuse to celebrate something every day, it does tend to get tedious. Especially when it's stuff that you like, but not necessarily stuff that everyone else likes. And I think the trolls got this point across pretty good in the special. It's obviously know who your audience is kind of thing.
We celebrate with giggles. Get tickled, get tickled, get tickled by spiders!
Number 8. Wassailia from Sophia the First. Oh, this hurts that this is so low on this list compared to some of the other holidays. But I had to face the facts. Very little is known about Wassailia. Again, we don't have any history of the holiday, which gives the holiday a big fat 0 in that department. And we don't have any lore for the holiday, so it gets a 0 for that too. But it's very Christmassy. I mean, look at this. Everything looks beautiful, from the decorations to the trees. This is one of the most beautiful fake Christmas-like holidays on this list, though we don't get much in the way of traditions. We have a lighting of a big candle before opening presents. That's it. And we don't get any information on why they do this, but we do have some sort of tradition where creatures and mythical beings deliver gifts to some kind of wish-granting queen that lives in the woods next door in order to get a wish fulfilled on this holiday. So Wassailia has that going for it. The Wassailia episodes are decent enough, although the first one completely wastes an appearance by a Disney princess. Seriously, Aurora only appears to Sophia just to tell her to turn around. What I find interesting about Wassailia is that the holiday is obviously named after wassail, which is kind of a hot citrus Christmas drink. Recipes in the description. But apparently the creator of Sophia wanted to have the series be inclusive when it comes to this holiday. So instead of having Christmas, Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, they went with Wassailia. Unfortunately, they kind of messed up that plan a little bit, because apparently they do celebrate Christmas in Sophia the First's universe. No, I'm not talking about the Sophia the First books, although there is a Christmas-centered books for the series. I'm talking about Sophia the First's sister show that's set in the Sophia the First universe, Elena of Avalor, and the series celebration of Navidad, which, when translated from Spanish, means Christmas. Anyway, Wassailia is fun to look at and has some of the best songs from Sophia the First, but without the history, lore, and a lot more traditions, I can't place it any higher than number 8.
Well, if we're going to have any chance, we'd best travel lightly.
But I am traveling lightly. Oh, fine.
Number 7. Snogotog from How to Train Your Dragon. For movies and series that use a lot of Norse mythology, I do find it kind of odd that they don't use actual Viking holidays for the world of How to Train Your Dragon. I pointed this out before, but if the series did celebrate an actual Viking holiday around December, it would more than likely be called Yule, which is actually kind of a well-known word when it comes to Christmas time. Yule log. Now I did put The Gift of the Night Fury on my top 10 worst modern day Christmas specials list, and that's simply because of the fact that it has nothing to do with Christmas. But we didn't look at it from the point of view of an actual standalone holiday. And you can actually see that there's something of note there. First, the history. Yeah, unfortunately that gets a big fat 0. What about lore? That almost got a 0, but thanks to this quote from Hiccup's dad.
Morning, son! Glad you're up. I was looking for your helmet.
My helmet?
Odin needs a place to put your goodies.
It kinda saves the holiday, putting helmets out for Odin to put gifts in. That's kind of interesting considering Odin is kind of wrapped in the lure of our modern day Santa Claus. You have a big wooden Christmas tree type thing that's decorated with Viking shields, so that's unique. I'm not going to include all the new traditions Astrid tried to make up simply because drinking yak's milk and giving out exploding eggs doesn't seem like something that other people would embrace. But that's just me. Now as far as this holiday being Christmassy, well look at it! The decorations are all over the place, including Gobber decorating his hook and body with nothing but Christmas decorations. It's a sight to behold. Also, considering that this is the time of year that the dragons would leave to give birth, makes this holiday even more enjoyable. But even that isn't included in the holiday's history, considering everyone just found out about it. Number 6. Instinct is described as an innate, typically pattern of behavior in animals in response to a certain stimuli. A natural or intuitive way of acting or thinking. A natural propensity or skill of a specific kind. And the fact or quality of possessing innate behavioral patterns. Who would have thought animals would use it to figure out when and how to celebrate a holiday? But that is exactly what they did to figure out it's time for Animus, and my gym partner's a monkey. Animus is supposed to be the hottest day of the year, and animals celebrate it. It's not a specific date. Animals figure that out by using their instincts. They also use their instincts to figure out how to celebrate this holiday. They use their instincts to figure out that they have to wear periwinkle on the first day of Animus. There's talking tumbleweeds and migrating south for a party. They even have a special Animus rock that they have to decorate. And when I say decorate, I mean every one of the characters put their essence on it. That's right, they all peed on a rock. It's a very odd twist on celebrating a holiday. It's unique and bizarre. I'm half and half on this episode simply because I couldn't take the main character monologuing. I think they thought they were trying to be funny with it. It's probably the least Christmassy episode on this whole top 10 list, but you do have interesting traditions and interesting history. And the episode is decent, if you cut out the monologuing.
But this can't be the rock. It's not even decorated.
Sure it is, buddy. It's decorated with our sense. Didn't see that coming, did you?
You mean you all?
Now it's your turn.
You want a particle accelerator?
Yes, something useless.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Stupid atom smasher.
Clear, crisp, and bright. 7-Up has the feeling of Christmas.
Season's greetings. I am the Invisible Man. You may be planning an old-fashioned Christmas as I am, but that doesn't mean you have to use old-fashioned cellophane tape. Note how shiny it looks on the gift wrap, while Scotch Magic transparent tape keeps packages pretty. It's virtually invisible. So do your own disappearing act with Scotch brand Magic transparent tape.
Number 5. Once a year, the Greek god of the seas, Poseidon, lowers the tide to its lowest point. During this time, he delivers toys to good children who hang their boots on fishing poles over the side of the docks. And the naughty children get stuffed in a sack by a group of mermen. This is Low Tidings from the Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. Low Tidings is an interesting concept for an interesting series, although it's a series I don't care much for watching. Flapjack gets on my nerves. There's Low Tidings cookies and plays and a very lonely man dressed up as Santa, who, at the end of the special, is in charge of delivering toys to people on the docks. Again, it's a very unique holiday with the main character that I really don't want to watch ever again.
Oh, that's why you hide on Low Tides Day.
No, I hide from the 6 to 8 mermen who stuffed me in a sack. Why are you doing this?
Number 4. Knishmas from Chowder. Another great holiday that is represented really well but has lack of lore. Now, we don't know anything about why Knishmas exist. All we know is a giant caterpillar breaks into your house and barfs up Knishmas gifts. I've said too many things that I never thought I would ever say in my life. Now, if that is the only reason why we have this holiday, then perhaps there should have been a little more concern when making Knishmas a holiday. I mean, after all, if Knish Kringle doesn't like your presentation of a giant gingerbread house, he'll destroy your place. So if Knish Kringle is the reason for the holiday, that means there's not exactly any lore for the holiday either. So we have to look at the traditions. Traditions like singing Knishmas carols, and sitting on people who's dressed up as Knish Kringle's lap. There's also mistletoe and building gingerbread houses. It's all very Christmassy and looks very good. And this is a really good episode of Chowder to top it all off.
All right, who's next? Come on up.
I am!
Rattle!
Whoa, big boy!
Whoa! Rattle, 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 rattle.
Seriously, aren't you a little old for this?
Rattle.
Number 3. A group of pilgrims travel across the sea in hopes to find a new home. After a while being on board a ship for a long time, people got kind of fed up with each other and started arguing. They discovered land and each were set on their own merry way. That is until the weather turned for the worse. The pilgrims were so cold that they started to huddle up against a stump just to get warm. A bond of friendship grew in these pilgrims so much that they carved their initials on the stump. Thus began Stump Day from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Now, the history of Stump Day is not really all that interesting. It's a very average holiday. There's very little in Christmas decorations and very little in traditions and lore for this holiday. So why is it so high on the list? Well, it's Star vs. the Forces of Evil. You're going to get a good episode out of this show. The history and lore are okay, but what really makes this episode really shine is the stump itself. On Stump Day for 24 hours, if you do anything to disrespect or make the stump mad, and yes, Stump is a real character in this universe, the stump will come to your place and try to kill you. So it goes from a holiday of delight to a holiday of dread when you realize that the reason why they celebrate it is to keep themselves alive. You expect a murderous mythical creature coming on a holiday to kill people in some horror movies, not so much children's entertainment. Although this has been happening with a lot of Disney series as of late. Maybe Invader Zim was on the wrong network at the wrong time?
What is all this racket?
Oh no, the stump is real.
Wait, you didn't believe in the stump?
Honey, it's a stump.
Number 2. Two warring factions. Two different types of creatures who simply cannot get along. Both are out to wipe each other out. Years of fighting, and all of a sudden, it stops. What on earth could have made two warring groups stop fighting? Well, they say on that day, he came down from the sky and offered something that neither group could refuse. Bacon.
Damn straight, bacon! Bacon is awesome!
This is Bigamous, from Robot and Monster. The whole holiday is centered around bacon. You have bacon carols and bacon-themed trees. If it's a Christmas thing, you can bet there's a bacon theme to it. There's some great traditions with this holiday as well. My favorite is where everyone has to fight each other to get one gift. But the most interesting concept of Bigamous is the actual identity of the deity that came down that delivered the bacon on that day. Saint Crispy. You see, the monsters assume that Saint Crispy is a fleshling, while the robots assume that he is a robot. It's a very interesting concept, especially a lot of times when it comes to the religious aspects of Christmas, well, Jesus in general anyway, that a lot of people tend to fight over what race he is. So have a children's show do pretty much the same thing over a character that the holiday is surrounded by, it makes an interesting conversation. One that I'm not too sure parents would enjoy talking about. However, Saint Crispy is both a robot and a fleshling. Which is kind of a cop-out, because you kind of want to see what the other race would have done if he wasn't their race. Especially the robots, since they are a little stuck up. Oh, and it doesn't help that Saint Crispy is kind of insane, too. Bigamous is an interesting idea with some interesting dialogue that you normally do not get out of a children's show.
Uh-oh, look who's standing under the bacon toe! Bugger up, Granny!
1011101.
Honorable mentions. Congo Bongo Festival of Lights from Donkey Kong Country. This holiday from this series. There really wasn't a celebration outside of the fireworks going off later in the episode, but basically all we got is a lonely alligator, and for some reason he's related to a rival alligator pirate guy. Oh, and the lonely alligator sings to himself. A lot. You got some traditions, but not many, and you don't get to see any of them outside of the fireworks. Boy, I remember Donkey Kong Country being this great game with cutting-edge technology, and we end up with a pretty bad cartoon of it. Seriously, Donkey Kong should not talk. Whatever the holiday is called from Adventure Time. I'm not sure you can call whatever Finn and Jake made up for a holiday, but whatever it's called, it's just a group of people sitting down and watching videos of an old man slowly going insane. Yeah, that's all the holiday is. Sure, it's an important episode of Adventure Time, but at the same time, as a holiday, it's just watching videos of an old man slowly going insane.
Snowman, attack!
And the #1 non-Christmas Christmas holiday in a cartoon is Hearthwarming Day from My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
No! You get out of here! I'm done with you!
It looks like I'm going back to my MLP roots once again, but honestly, I couldn't put any other non-existent holiday on top of this list. Over the course of 4 episodes in one special, My Little Pony developed Hearthwarming Day, the most complete holiday out of all the ones I talked about on this list. If it was just the first episode, then this holiday would be lower on the list. But it's not. It's so much more. The first episode dealt with the history of hearthwarming. The second takes a look at the traditions. The third takes a look at the lore and stories that come from the holiday. The fourth deals with characters who celebrate different holidays outside of hearthwarming. And the special is about finding gifts for friends. The history is 3 species of pony who do not get along, looking for a new place to settle because their own homeland is being overrun by mythical creatures called Wendigos, who pretty much made their homelands into eternal winter. The problem is, all three types of ponies discovered that they had the same idea, where to start their own kingdom, and started arguing and fighting amongst each other. This brought the Wendigos to the new land the ponies found. They discovered that in order to get rid of the Wendigos, that they have to get along. Which took them a while, but they did all this while stuck in a cave, getting away from the Wendigos, huddled up around a hearth fire. It's not an unusual concept. When you put that together with the series exploring traditions of other families and how they celebrate heartwarming, making dolls out of rocks and hiding presents, and all sorts of unique traditions, that just adds to the holiday. And then you have the story of Heartwarming Carol, which is basically another version of A Christmas Carol, only with higher stakes. But it's such a good episode. And then they take time to talk about other creatures' holidays, which is a unique take. I guess if it was just the first episode, it probably would not be so high on the list, just because they're really only exploring the history of Equestria, not so much doing anything else Christmassy. Sure, it took the course of 4 episodes and a special to put together what heartwarming is about, and how they celebrate it and such. And yeah, the staff was probably making things up as they go along. But in the end, the writers of the show did such a good job of making this holiday that I could not see myself not putting this on the top of this list.
Great! So, who do you? I don't have rarity. What?
So that's my top 10 non-Christmas Christmas holidays in a cartoon. What are your thoughts on these holidays? Is there a holiday that I missed? Not Festivus. Would you put another holiday in the top spot? What would your list be? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Tunamp, put catchphrase here. Thanks for watching.
It's the middle of July, and the temperature is high. Our feet begin to swell, and the pavement's hot as well, well. Christmas in July. Open up your special gifts from the round and hairy guy. Hey! Christmas in July. Have some fun and stay inside, 'cause it's hot enough to fry an egg.
Christmas in July, Sunday starting at 10.
Only on Cartoon Network.